Thank you. I'm here at the Geisinger Janet Weiss Children's Hospital, and joining me is Debbie Dressler. Debbie, you're in the rehabilitation department. So what is your daily routine like? What are you seeing?
Okay. Well, our department consists of physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech pathologists, and we see both inpatients and outpatients. So some of the therapists are up on the floor seeing the more acute patients. Some of the therapists are in the gym seeing the outpatients. We also have a feeding team, which consists of OT, speech, and nutritionist. They will see both inpatients and outpatients for feeding issues as well. So it's a gambit. We see patients from NICU age all the way up to 19, so it could be very varied.
And what are some of the challenges that come with working in that department?
It's very busy. We have a lot of variation of diagnoses and different types of patients that we treat. So we have to be very creative. We use a lot of different equipment, which has been provided by the telethon. And it's just, it's challenging, but it's very rewarding too. So.
Sure. Now, creativity, that's not necessarily a word I would think of when I'm thinking of medical. Anything. So give me an example of some ways that you're utilizing creativity.
Well, with a child, it's much different. With an adult, you can just say, do this. With a child, you have to convince them that it's worth their while. So it may be playing with a Noah's Ark toy to try to get them to stand up or to reach for it or to do whatever you want them to do. You have to put everything in position so the child's going to do what you want them to do.
So engagement is really
Exactly,
key.
exactly. And it has to be something that they consider worthwhile. I mean, you can't say, well, this is going to help you and make you stronger. That won't work. It has to be something that's enjoyable for them, that they want to do. So that's where the creativity comes in.
Are there any misconceptions people might have about a rehabilitation process, whether that be how long it takes or certain tactics you might use?
Well, our rehabilitation for our outpatients, it's more long-term. For inpatients, it's a more acute setting. So the inpatients are seen up on the floors, so that's a little bit different. For the outpatients, I think probably the biggest misconception is it takes a long time. People think it should happen, you know, within, like in the adult world, if someone has a knee replacement or some kind of orthopedic problem, you're in and out within a matter of weeks. Some of our children, our outpatients, are here for years and they're constantly making gains. Inpatient is a more acute setting, so it happens a lot quicker. They're going home and they may get their therapy if they're from a distance at home, or they may come back and see us for therapy as well.
And I feel as though maybe the younger you are, the more impatient you can sometimes get when you're not seeing results as fast. So how do you help kids stay patient and just let the process work?
Well, when we set our goals, we set long-term goals and then short-term goals. And the short-term goals are kind of like little mini goals. So, and we adjust those on a monthly basis, so that when we try to make it that the patient will at least meet one goal every time we do the evaluation. So they see that positive, they see that they're making improvement. Even if it's just a little bit, at least there's something that they can see that's positive. And that helps with the parents too, because when children are very involved, the goals are smaller and they take a little bit longer to reach. So you really have to make, but then you have to make some challenging goals so that they have something to work toward, so that they have something that they're challenged to do as well. So it's kind of a balance.
Sure. And you mentioned the Children's Miracle Network contributes equipment. What other things do they do to make it essential for your department?
Oh my gosh, we probably would not be able to function without the telethon. On the smaller scale, they provide for us like balls and bolsters and things like that we can loan out to patients so that they can, and their families, so they can use them at home. On a larger scale, they help to provide, we have an equipment fund that we use to provide equipment for patients when insurance won't cover that, because medical equipment is very expensive, and once, if a parent has a child that has special needs, they find out very quickly, and insurance doesn't cover a lot of that equipment, so we can help with that too through the telethon, through that fund, which is so great. On an even larger scale, some of the bigger pieces of equipment in our department, were funded by the telethon. We have a huge vestibular wing that we use for children with sensory issues. We have a suspensory gait system that we use on our treadmill. We have a Balance Master system, which is kind of like a fancy Wii, Wii Fitness for some of our more advanced kids. All of those we probably never could have afforded because they're such high price items, but they were funded specifically through the telethon for our department. So it's just been amazing for us.
That's definitely great to hear. So the telethon really helps the overall success of your department. And when you're done at the end of the day, what is the most rewarding thing you take from your job?
The kids and their progress and just the relationships that we form with them. It's just amazing. And to be able to see with children, you can see, especially I work specifically with a lot of the NICU babies, so you can see what you're doing is really making an improvement both in their motor skills and in the quality of their life and in just making their parents' lives easier. It's just amazing, it really is.
Well, Debbie, thank you very much for taking time to speak with me, and we definitely appreciate what you do, so thank you for taking some time today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again, and like I said, we are here at the Geisinger Janet Weiss Children's Hospital. Back to you at Del Grosso's.